The National Lotteries Commission has made a pledge to restore integrity to the Commission. Members of what we'll call for now the new board, the Chairman and the Acting Commissioner, made this pledge to the Parliamentary Portfolio Commission on Trade, Industry and Competition in a meeting today. The board and the Acting Commissioner both took office at the beginning of this month. The Special Investigating Unit has given the committee an update on its probe into the NLC. There has been detailed reporting on how members of the old board and members of the National Lottery and their families benefited from money that was paid to it. We speak to the chair of the new board, Professor Barney Pityana. Professor Pityana, sir, good evening to you, and thank you very much indeed for your time. We've seen the detailed reporting, much of it coming from ground up, about what happened at the National Lotteries Commission, how family members benefited from its projects. What are you going to try and do to get the money back?
The first I have to say, Stephen, is that on behalf of the board, much of what we heard from the SIU, of course we didn't hear it for the first time today, the detailed reporting by the SIU is really, really disgusting. I can't put it higher than that, particularly when the victims are the poor and needy and vulnerable of our country. It was enough for one to really say that this is something that just has to change. We can't carry on like this and still be proud South Africans. So that's the first thing. Now I've got that out of my chest. I can then address your question. What we're doing is not rocket science. We are trying to restore governance in the board. We're trying to make sure that there's consequence management in the board. We want to make sure that we've got the right caliber of staff and executives in the board. We want to make sure that both board and executives and management undergo an appropriate lifestyle audits. We want to make sure that we account to the people of this country as much as possible, and yet we want as South Africans to be very proud of what the National Lotteries Commission can do. Let's face it, 1.2 billion rand a year is distributed through the National Lottery Distribution Trust Fund to good causes in our country. That's an enormous achievement, and there is a sense in which much of that is continuing, and it is a matter of pain and regret that so much of that money has actually been unlawfully and immorally been taken away from the mouths of babes and the needy.
There are certain people who we know did certain things. We know that Philemon Letowaba's wife, he was the chief operating officer, that his wife received money through these projects. He seems to have been a prime figure in all of this. There was the Commissioner, Charlotte Mampane, who resigned quite suddenly just a couple of weeks before her term ended. Quite a strange thing to do. Are these the people who you believe are responsible, along with the former board?
And clearly, as indicated, Stephen, the SIU has done an amazing job in getting to the root of the malfeasance in the National Lotteries Commission and in the work of the board. And the reports we heard today, we'd heard the report previously. The commitment of the board is to make sure that the recommendations of the SIU, to the extent that they are within the powers of the board of the NLC, will be taken seriously, will be implemented. The names that you mentioned figure very, very large in the investigations of the SIU. However, the SIU has told us that they will be issuing the report by the 31st of October. They've also told us that they have referred some of these matters to the NPA. They've also told us that they have been active in civil claims and to claim the refunds. And to the extent that they have the power to do so, which the board of the NLC does not have the power to do so, we are guided by the work of the Special Investigations Unit, which has been authorized by the President in the proclamation of November 2020 to do the investigation.
Professor Barney.
All we have to do, and we give our pledge, that we will attend to the reports that come our way. To the extent that our powers allow, we will take active steps to make sure that any who are fingered by the reports, it's not only the people you mentioned, by the way, it may be other staff who were enablers and facilitators of this within the executives and staff of the NLC today.
Professor Barney Pityana, I really appreciate the time, sir. Thank you. Chair of the new board of the National Lotteries Commission.